Hey everyone, welcome back. I have with me my very good friend, Joel Heires.
Hello.
Tell him about you.
My name's Joel. I'm an artist. I kind of have a background in video games, but lately I've been doing a lot of illustration and sort of two-dimensional and real and digital work.
Yes. So the way that we met is at Video Game Open Coffee Club, which is a club that I run. That's also where I met Daniel Shae. And I remember sitting down across from you several times because you were just coming, you just started coming to the coffee club, and every time he just has a notebook out in front of him that he's drawing something in. I was watching him draw this, it was on one page was a goblin, and then on the other page was a man and woman that you had. And I was like, I want you to draw my cover. I want you to draw my book cover.
Yes, it was very declarative. Just you're doing this. So,
I was like, well, when you want something, you gotta make it happen. And just from that moment on, we started about March and stuff. From that moment on, it was just like really, really amazing. He's done really amazing work. Where are we going from here? First one was great.
Book cover.
Yeah, the book cover. So how we got started on that. First, I gave you a description.
You had a fairly clear vision in mind. I did the first sort of draft based on that, based on the description, and showed it to you. And then that was when you were like, oh no, that's good, but like it really needs to look more like this. And then you brought up a painting that you had seen as a painting by an English painter called William Eddy, and called Venus Holding an Arrow. And it's sort of a kind of a classic nude, reclined on a bed of pillows and blankets, kind of holding a golden arrow from mythology.
Yes.
But obviously, we
Well, I mean,
change a few things.
We went back and forth several times, and I think even at one point you're like, hey, why don't I just read the story?
Yes.
And I'm always like, of course, read my story, go.
Yeah.
So I sent you the book, and then after that, it really started to come together. I wanted to make sure that there wasn't a character face on there, so she needed to be looking away, because I wanted people to kind of draw their own conclusions on what the characters look like. In the book, I don't really go into great detail on like the main character, but the character that you see on the front cover, I definitely did go into detail on her. Yeah. And then I remember one time you messaged me and you're like, hey, like, what does her face look like? I had no idea, because all I ever see when I think of this character is just like how beautiful she is. So I kept saying, oh, just think of the most beautiful woman that you've ever seen, and that's her. Yes. And you're like, I don't, okay.
Right, yeah. Fortunately, the internet has a lot of references for something like that.
Yes, yes. And then we found the Venus Holding an Arrow, which had the right kind of body shape that I was thinking of, because the character is kind of based off of Aphrodite. And she's looking away, and I was just like, when I saw it and when I got the final, because there's a point where I was like, don't show me anything. You're like, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I cut you off. Yeah,
so
we're best to surprise you.
Yeah, so we were getting down to the final leg of it, and when you sent me that final cover, I was completely just blown away. I cried a little, because I always do whenever anything like really amazing happens with my stories.
And I just take great joy in making people cry.
This was a happy joy cry. And like the other thing that really blows me away is just the amount of detail that is in the cover itself. You're going to see, I'm going to put out a post. I don't know if we'll get it into the video, but I'm going to put out a post, and it's going to show a progression of from when we first started talking to where we ended up. And I mean, just take a moment to like zoom in and look at the level of detail on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a personal passion of mine. The micro details, the sort of. I like to invite the viewer into the picture and let them reward them for sticking around instead of just kind of moving past it once they've registered what it is. And so because of the time frame and because of what the image was meant to evoke, but also with the story of the book, I put in a few details to suggest that like this isn't quite what you think it is, above and beyond even the sort of like the more sinister aspects of the image. But there's and then I guess the detail that you really liked was I put a low relief sculpture onto the base that the figure is draped across, and I wanted to sort of illustrate like a little bit more about who the character is and her role in history, as well as again rewarding the people that actually take the time to look at it. You know?
Yes, yes. And I remember telling you when I saw that, it's like, this is a book that you could see on a display and I would buy it almost instantly, just because the cover looks so amazing. No matter what anybody tells you, a cover does mean a lot. It's one of the first ways you're going to grab anybody. And if it looks boring, some people will just kind of pass it by, or they might get grabbed by the font of the name, or something like that. But when you have something that is really just beautiful looking, because that's what I feel like it is. When you have something that's really beautiful looking, it just kind of makes people stop. And I felt like that's what that book cover is able to do. Is just for a moment, you stop and you take it in, and you're like, oh man, this is really beautiful.
Thank you. It's high praise. Yeah, I was definitely drawing from my own experiences as a child, walking through a bookstore and seeing, these beautiful covers. I also remember as a child being very disappointed when the cover didn't relate. It was just like a random sci-fi painting. It was like, well, this is, because half the magic is like, all right, who is this on the cover, And so part of the reason I wanted to read the story.
Yes, part of the reason.
Part of the reason I wanted to read the story was because I wanted to infuse the imagery, with as much detail as I could to relate it to the story that the reader's hopefully going through, so that at some point they can, oh, that's who that is, oh, and that's who that is, and oh, this, and yeah. So.
Yeah, I think it definitely achieved it. Everybody I've shown the book to, or the cover to so far, have definitely seen it and been super impressed. So thank you so much. Now, you are getting your freelance career off the ground.
Yeah.
Well, it's been off the ground for a while, but
it's been like tumbling across the ground. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. So you currently work as a freelance artist. Tell these people where they can find you in case they want you to do something awesome for them.
You can reach or you can see my work at joelheires.com. My contact info is there. I'm also at Joel Heires on Instagram. I guess just for clarity, JoelHeires, yeah, there's some fun stuff kind of covering what I've been doing lately, as well as my history in the video game industry, all the sort of the games, career, and then you can also see the newest project that I've been working on, which is sort of a 7-painting, 7-music track piece with a friend of mine called The Magi, and it's kind of dark and kind of gothic-y with skeleton men. I don't know. It's
really awesome looking.
Oh, thank you.
100% awesome looking. So yes, all that information will be down in the description below, and I will see you next time.
Terror incident, report 001.
This place had once been a city, with roads and tall concrete buildings. People ambled along the sidewalks as cars sped through busy intersections. Neon signs beckoned visitors to shops while street performers danced and sang for spare change. Now, the city is a shell, abandoned by mankind and left to wither. Without humans to keep nature at bay, tall grass broke through the seams of once carefully crafted roads and sidewalks. Trees grew from beneath the rubble and wild vines snaked around power lines. A woman stood alone at the edge of the ramp of her hovering craft, watching as various grazing animals moved through the green-covered streets. Below her stretched the long, cracked roof of a building. "Are you sure we're at the right place?" a robotic voice asked from behind her. She glanced over her shoulder briefly before looking down at her drop point.